Thanks a lot for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. We move into our discussion at this time. Now, the amount of money pumped into the internal electoral processes of political parties and even the entire electoral process has become a source of concern for Nigerians. Videos of local and foreign currencies changing hands went viral on social media after the conduct of party primaries. Delegates became some of the most influential and sought-after individuals in the country as aspirants vying for political office struggled to outdo themselves in securing their votes. And for the delegates, it was a case of money for hand, back for ground. Videos of delegates buying cars and showing off wads of dollars and naira surfaced online. Some Nigerians are now of the opinion that in some political parties it was the highest spender that emerged victorious and not just being the most qualified for the job. What does this mean for the nation's democracy? Joining us now is Ogun West's NNPP senatorial candidate and a lawyer, Olufemi Aino. Welcome to TVC Breakfast and congratulations on your slot. We still wish you all the best.
Yes, thank you for your best wishes.
Congratulations.
And, yes, thank you for your love and kindness also. Thank you.
Now, there's a place in the Bible that says, blessed are those whose sins are covered. Have the sins of the politicians been covered for all the dollar rain that we have seen in this season so far?
Yes, I have a strong doubt whether that is going to happen. But my major concern is this the way to go? Whereby people are turning, the political traders, whereby people, the whole process of relating to election in Nigeria is seriously monetized. And we are in a democracy. And what is supposed to be, as you know, is supposed to be a participatory democracy, whereby everybody is given an opportunity to select who's going to be the leader. But the opposite is the case. And what is happening now is what is called plutocracy, whereby power is going to the rich. And if that is the way we are going to go, the problem we're going to have, whether we have a not too young to run bill or whatever, it's not going to happen, because if you don't have that chest and that money, you will not get to power. And that is something we need to be concerned about. Political corruption, sewage politics in Africa, it is very disturbing. And if we continue that way, we may not get the right leader that will deliver the dividends of democracy. And what happened during the last major party's primary is that you now see a situation whereby the delegates have turned the whole selection of a leader into a transactional commodity, whereby they are selling votes for dollars. And most of these people, they need to be treated as economic saboteur, because what is going on, and I'm glad one of your mic actually mentioned it, that look, this thing is it's affecting the foreign exchange market, whereby it's 600 naira to the dollars now. And then it's even over 600. And if you want to run a business in Nigeria to get a dollar, now you have to buy it for about 640 naira to $1. It's just because the political gladiators
have given more value to it.
They've given more value to it, and they are devaluing the nation currency. Even if you want to pay the delegates, why not pay them in naira? And now they are now going for the dollar, and it is very disturbing.
How would you pay them in naira?
Because
you have to carry Ghana must go. But you know what happens in dollar is that it's very easy. I can just stay here and slip it into your pocket. I can just slide $50,000 into your pocket, and if you are wearing agbada, you will just walk light. As light as corruption.
Yes, but yes, I think
depending on how you look at it.
But the question is that the way to go? Is that the way we want to elect a leader? That is why, even without playing opposition politics, I can tell you Nigerians deserve an alternative, and that alternative, come May 2023, will be, I know who is going to be the president of Nigeria, and you've mentioned that.
I'm also wondering how this whole dollar or naira reign now, how it's reflected in the NNPC's process of electing candidates.
That didn't happen because we have
so you didn't have to pay?
No, we didn't have to pay. I went through the primary myself. There are other contestants, all of them stepped down for me, and I didn't even pay a couple. I don't even have the dollar to give anybody in the first instance. And during the NMP process, this is a party that believes in the rule of law. This is a party that believes that everybody should be given an opportunity to elect a leader, and that is why Kwakwaso is the presidential candidate of the party, and he's going to emerge as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Come watch me.
So you're saying that the other, aspirants stepped down for you on what terms? So I can see you were the consensus candidate.
Yes.
There was no need for an election.
There was no need, but don't forget, under the electoral act,
you still need to.
All of them, they still need to come out
in writing,
and then affirm you as the candidate. But
why did they affirm you? Was there a dollar rain? Did you rain on dollar rain?
No.
Or something else?
No, nothing. Because you see, if you have a party, the problem we have, if the dollar rain, you may not expect a credible candidate. That is the problem. Because if the armed robbers come with the dollar, you are going to vote because you are voting for money, you are not voting for ideas, you are not voting for quality, you are not voting for the person who is well off. But I managed to emerge as a candidate of the NNP because they realize I have the idea, they realize that I'm well off, and they realize I can give the people the dividends of democracy in Ogun West. And come May 2023, I will come to your studio as a senator of the Federal.
All right, we will see about that. But, people have also argued that this culture is not exactly new. The trends, the interests may be more now in this present dispensation ahead of the general election. Even the people have come to identify with the term stomach infrastructure. So, but critics have also said, if you want this, to be eradicated, work should have been done way before now. So why the point of, bemoaning this culture now?
You see, that's the disturbing aspect. And the way we can deal with this, because I was thinking about it, this has been going on for so far. Even in the First Republic, it used to be 10% kickback, and the ministers will get the kickback and route it through the party. But now it is open display of wealth. But the only way we can eradicate it is to give citizens the opportunity to thrive. We need to ensure we have a country that respects the rule of law. There is no point having a law that you must not do this, you must not do that, if the will to implement that law is not there. And at the same time, we need to alleviate poverty. And there is this idea. Look, this money drain you are talking about, if you witness these primaries, you will see that there is something that tells the delegates and the electorate that, look, what is going there, when he gets there, is going to become very wealthy. And there's something that tells them that as soon as he gets there, they are not going to see you again. So let's take as much what you can get for now. And that is something we need to educate the electorate that is not the way to go. And because by the time you start taking money to vote for somebody to emerge as a presidential candidate, you start voting for money for somebody to emerge as the senatorial candidate, what you are selling is that you are selling your tomorrow. And that's not something I cherish or I appreciate. And the party I belong doesn't want that. And that is why Nigerians are seeking for the alternative. And that alternative is the NN.
With lawyer Femi Aino, who is also running for the position of senator to represent Ogun West constituents. It's good to have you still with us. Yes, let me also ask before Sam comes in now, where the place of monitoring, we did see a bit of presence of EFCC officials. Some that said they even came to the APC grounds too to monitor, but this time in Mufti, as against what we saw. Indeed. Them wearing their full gear now at the PDP convention. What did you make about all that? And does that amount to real monitoring? Well,
at the end of the day, how many people have been arrested since the primary? That's the question. You can be there, but the people are not going to give money during the primaries anyway. That's going to happen a few days before. And the way it's going to be done is going to be done in a very discreet way. So what I'm saying is that we need to try as much as possible and see how we're going to eradicate this. It is either One of the suggestions, and I key into that, is either let all the party members in the whole 36 states of the Federation select who's going to be the presidential candidate. If you do that, the difficulty is that it will be difficult for that candidate to go around the 36 states.
You're talking of open primary.
Yes, open primary, going through the whole 36 states and bribing people so that they can vote for him. Because you see, if you see some of the aggrieved aspirants, what they are saying is that the whole process was actually monetized. They don't have the money, and some of them even have the ideas. And the disturbing aspect is that those who even have the ideas, they ended up scoring 0. And it's not supposed to be. But I know that some of the delegates, they are not ready to, even the electorate, because I've been there. I know some of the electorates, they are not even ready to listen to what you are going to do. Even after I won the primary, somebody now called me that, oh, your furniture allowance is going to be this. I said, let me get there first. I don't even know. And how did you know? Did you work at the National Assembly? Because something tells them that, look, this is a very juicy exercise. They don't see it that you are there to represent the people. They don't see it that you are there to give them.
These are your intended constituents.
Exactly. That you are there to give them a voice. And this is something we need to do. And it is very important. We are not going to deal with it by amending the electoral law alone. What we need to do is to make sure we empower people. What we need to do is to make sure there's gender equality. What we need to do is to make sure that we eradicate oppression. What we also need to do is to make sure Nigeria have a party, vote for a party that has an idea and that can give them the dividends of democracy.
It seems to me that some people still believe that the idea of money politics is also exaggerated in terms of when it comes to the outcome. And it's not restricted to Nigeria, it's all over the world that money plays a role in politics, but money is not always the decider. And in the US, the founding fathers, when they came together, the richest among them, John Hancock, thought he would be the president because he was the richest. So he wanted to create a plutocracy, as it were, because of himself. But the people said, no, this is the soldier, George Washington, is the one that will pick because of his sacrifices, his presence, his ideas, and all. They came together and did that. I look at the PDP primaries. The PDP primaries eventually was decided not by money, but by alliance. If Tambuwa, as they say, did not say, my voters move to Atiku, maybe Wike would have won. But at that moment, it was not money that was working. It was deal making. That's why they say, that's why I often say here, that although they say money is the mother's milk of politics.
It's not enough.
It is not enough because the baby also needs drugs. The baby needs to be serenaded and needs lullaby. If you have money and you have a croaky voice, the child will not go to sleep. I will be sick. I will not be even healthy enough to drink the mother's milk. So there are so many things that go into politics. It is who the person is. What has he done in the past to help me? What image do we have of him? What has he done for us all these years? What are his ideas? What is he likely to do with me? Where does he come from? All those factors still come in. And sometimes we mention money, but it seems that sometimes we exaggerate the power of money. What do you say?
Well, I won't say we exaggerate it, because at the end of the day, even though there was an alliance during the PDP primary, but at the same time, if you give yourself the benefit of hindsight, money changed hand during that primary, and it was widely reported. But the point I'm making is this:
money played hand, changed hand. But at the last minute, was it money that decided?
No. At that, it was the alliance. It was the alliance, and that was very vital indeed. And at the end of the day, what happened? You have a candidate. But the point I'm making is that how do we remove money from the election process totally? That is the issue we are discussing here.
Is it possible to remove it anywhere?
Yes, well, The problem is this. It will be very difficult to do that.
Even in the US, you can't remove it. Even in the UK, you can't remove it.
No. I disagree with you on that point. And I'll tell you my line of disagreement. Even in the UK, where I've been and where I come from, I know for that if you belong to Conservative Party or the Labour Party, people will vote for you because you have idea. People will vote for you because they know you can represent them. They don't vote for you because you've given money to delegates.
But you can also argue. You can also argue that is reflected even here in the Nigerian system. That is reflected. People will look at your results. Even here in Nigeria, they will take your money, no doubt, but then they will look at how well you can deliver. I think we also saw that play out in the APC's process too.
Maybe you did.
Do you remember?
No, I didn't.
Do you remember the story of third term?
Yes.
So people said they collected, but they did not deliver.
Indeed.
Yes, I know.
Indeed.
Because you see, this is where the problem lies. Yes. What we need to work towards is to make sure we educate the electorate that stop looking at money, look at ideas, look at people who will give you the dividends of democracy, look at people who has performed previously, or look at their credentials. But the problem is that when you have delegates receiving 10,000, receiving 20,000, they are not going to look at that. Because how come those who even have idea? Jack Rich was there during the recent primary. How come he ended up scoring zero?
He was rich, but not rich in votes.
So a takeaway from you now, you advocating for the direct primary mode. You think that would stop this trend?
That will help in a way. It may not stop it.
And it doesn't appear to be an overnight thing.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Because what happens is that even if you have open primaries, there are going to be strong men.
Yes.
Who will be monetized?
Who will still absolutely
and who will one way or the other distribute the rice and the you collect maybe 200 million and then you spend 15 million distribute rice and so on. Everybody is happy. You go home with a huge chunk of the money, but you have already made everybody happy. And some of them you give 10,000, just okay, and that kind of.
Let me just quickly give you my. Let me give you my takeaway. The takeaway is very simple. I urge Nigerians to embrace an alternative. And that alternative is what I represent. That alternative is what Kwakwaso represent. And they should vote for it.
I also want to take you up on the roles of our laws existing, or if we have to make some form of reforms. As some have said, okay, so we have regulations that, monitor how campaigns are funded as against now in this process of the primary now of electing or nominating your candidates now. Should our laws also be tweaked in this regard to also monitor how monies are spent during primaries?
I urge you to look at the Electoral Act 2022. All these issues have been addressed.
But enforcement
is not there. And INEC needs to, as the umpire, they need to sit up and make sure that at the end of the day, money is not the determinant. And that is the issue. And those who transgress the law should be brought to justice. And we need to do that in a
But did the law foresee that the monies are not exactly paid? We don't see the exchange of monies on the day of primaries. Is the law robust enough in that regard? Most times these things are not even there in the full glare of the public.
Yes, I take your point, but I invite you to take my point. My point is that we need to carry out a robust investigation and put a cast iron case against people, the perpetrators of this act. And the problem I have is that, you see, if you look at some of these aspirants, the amounts being spent, by the time they get to power, you see, if you purchase the fund for 100 million, politicians will go to every extent to protect their investment. So they are ready to pay delegates, they are ready to buy votes. So this is something we need to address. How we are going to address it, I know it's not going to happen overnight, but maybe by the time I get to the Senate, these are issues
there are some distinctions we have to make between our money politics and money politics in the West. Theirs have evolved. They used to induce work. Even in the US, even the 20th century, they used to take the government in power used to take money from civil servants to run for election. And those things have evolved. in those days, I was reading the biography of Jefferson. When you're going to vote, there's always sometimes a place where you stop. The candidate to give you biscuit and drinks and so on before you go and vote. So we're evolving. And when we say money politics in the US these days, it is about investing in advertising, not in giving money to delegates or people. So we have to make all those distinctions between our
Would you also be right? Would you also be advocating, if elected, making public offices less attractive? Do you see that as a connection between why you see money being a major factor?
I don't think that would be the way to go. If elected, what I want to do, first of all, is to stop this nonsense about minimum wage and replace it with what is called a living wage, whereby at the end of the day, you can go home after paying your bill, you will still have something in the kitchen to save, and you will still have something to take your children out for a meal. That is the priority now. And to make the public office less attractive, if we make it less attractive, maybe you won't get people to come forward. But what we are going to do is to make sure there is accountability. What we are going to do is to have a robust system whereby corruption will not thrive. And what we're going to do is to make sure that if you transgress the law, you will be punished. By the time we do that, definitely we will get to where we are looking at. But by and large, I still urge Nigerians to seize this election. This election is not going to be like previous election. And all those aspirants, they should know it's not going to be a walk in the park. And I urge Nigerians to try as much as possible. They have an alternative now, and they should embrace that alternative.
I asked the question earlier because you also give an account of how an intending constituent was asking, already has his or her eyes on, the price, on the price. So, yes. So while you may, want to go there with your, noble ideas, there are still the people there. You still need to, engage with your constituents, on those constituency projects and all eyes will be on you. Yes. We expect you to deliver in the way we have come, to see that. What is the feel amongst, when you mingle around your constituents in Ogun West about, this ideas that you represent as against what is the norm? I
think they are embracing it gradually, but it's not going to happen. And what I realized in the last few weeks is that some of the electorate, they don't even know what you represent as a senator, that you are there to make the law for the country. What they see is that once you become a senator, well, it's an access to lucrative wealth, which is not the case. And the other thing is this, I take Sam's point that, well, money, this and that. But the question is this, if you go to the market, there's a material, they said, oh, do you want senator material? Even if you want to buy a suit in London, there's no suit called Boris Johnson. There is no suit called Parliament. You see, and you don't see that in America. But the point is this, there was a man in America.
You only have that for suits.
Yes,
you only have that for players. So
there's a man in America called Ross Perot. It's a very wealthy man. Yes, he's a very wealthy man. He contested to be president of America. What happened in the end? It didn't get through because people do not.
It deprived Bush of his votes and gave it to Clinton.
But he didn't even get through himself personally. Yeah. So you see, this is the idea. People need to look more above money. They need to look at that individual criteria. They look at it that, is this person popular? Is this person going to give us a voice as a senator? Is this person going to address the myriad of problems which we have in this country? And that is the way. And as things stand, I know for sure that Kwakwaso represents that. I, as an incoming senator, represent that alternative.
All right, Olufemi, I know the candidate for the Ogun West senatorial seat now, or district there now, representing the NNPP. Once again, we say congratulations for
thank you so much for your
scaling this hurdle, and best wishes as you go forth.
Yes, I'm very grateful.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Sasa. I appreciate you too.